to another episode of Two Scribbles One Motherfucking Po. Um, if you did not listen to last week's episode, go back and listen to that. That's why I laughed at the beginning of this. Welcome back. It's been a motherfucking week. um, so no, actually, go. I don't know what just happened. If you did not listen to last week's episode, go back and listen to last week's episode, and this is where we pick up. So at this point, I think it was like March 29th, and I'm like, okay, I get it, protection, cool. Where do I go from here? And this next week, I think like it was, I wasn't really, I was bothered by all the changes, but I was like, okay, they came when they needed to. I didn't even talk, I meant to talk about this a Gale project in the last week, but I didn't get there because it's just how everything led up. I did. Oh, okay, let me tell y'all this real quick because I forgot to do that. I mentioned that. I talked about, let me, where'd my pen go? Oh, here it go. Okay, so I talked about the correction. I'm in the thick of talking about what happened since that last episode. And I talked about the tip and show. And so this is going to be Patreon. I'll get to that and I'll tell this. Sidebar. In what episode? Was it Two Dead Bitches at the Hibachi Spot? I was talking about allergies, and you would expect people who have allergies to be able to protect themselves and right? So tell me why I went to the grocery store, and me moving too fucking fast and being impatient, as I was checking out, I was hungry, so I was just like, how they set up the aisles to just entice you to want to buy more shit, and I grabbed a pack of mini M&Ms because it was a big one. I was like, ooh, threw that bitch on the conveyor belt, and then paid for my shit, got in the car. And I don't know what it is, but the mini M&Ms are so much better than the larger ones. I be crushing them bitches. So I'm real pressed. I open that bitch up. I get a handful, throw them bitches in my mouth. I get to chewing. I'm like, the fuck? I taste peanut butter. So then I have to open the car door and spit it all out. Then I like dramatically picked it up and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? And I think this was the morning of my performance. Actually. Because then I had asked my cousin if she, sorry if y'all don't like cracking, I asked my cousin if she liked peanut butter M&Ms, and she's like, yeah, why? And I was like, yeah, bitch, I almost TKO'd myself. So y'all don't move as fast as me. Pay better attention to what you're doing. So yeah, had to sit with myself. I asked for protection. Cool. So then after that happened, even with work, I was upset, and I'm like, it's fine, because now that was February 29th through like the 2nd, I think. Yeah. So then the next week, I'm like, okay, I was still able to work from home that following week. So that would be March like 3rd through the 9th, because the pay period would have started over on the 10th. So I was able to go to school. I started taking a train, and I was like, okay, the train isn't as bad. It's still the same commute, and like the tickets end up costing like to get me there and back both days that I have to go to campus, because at this point I also I wasn't driving my car. I'll get into that. Cause was that before? That was this week. So I think that happened later though. So yeah, I was still able to drive my car. So spring break hadn't happened yet. It was the week before spring break. I was able to like find out the train schedule and stuff. So I started taking a train to school, and I'm like, yo, this isn't bad. Like the commute there is about an hour as well. And then taking the Amtrak train home is 30 minutes, so it does cut down a little bit my commute home. So, I can just go to work, go to the train station, come back home. Oops, my bad, y'all. So, and then on the train, I don't have to worry about focusing on driving. I can actually get some work done. So I'm like, okay, I like this. I might actually, do this. And that's where I was at. The price was more or less the same because for both days, it ended up being about forgot words, a gas tank. Because I have to usually when I was driving to school, I have to fill my tank up twice. So I'm like, it's about the same. Cool. So the week goes by fine. Now we're in spring break. I'm like, heck yeah. I'm excited because I get this break from school. I'm a little bit upset though because now moving into spring break, I have this new work from home no more rule. So I have to spend even though I ain't have no crazy plans anyway, I now have to spend my spring break in the office instead of being at home taking care of whatever else needs to be taken care of, or maybe actually on a trip doing whatever work I can do in the office, because now y'all want us to physically clock in. So I'm like a little bit upset about this, but it is what it is. So I had a really good day. I get up, I'm getting myself together. I go downstairs to go to work. I put my key in the ignition. Well, before this, that Monday, I had went to my intern because I still, because I've missed so many hours. Part of the thing of being a therapist, I think I talked about this in Standing on Business too, but we need a total of 3,000 hours to get our licensure. I don't know how other programs work, but my program is we do get the first 1,000 hours, just being like with all of our grad work. So I'm behind because of all of the car stuff. So I could have not gone to my internship that Monday, and I think I ended up not going that Friday, but I'll get into that. Because I was like, I still need to make up these hours, and then I also knew that like this week I wasn't going to be able to go. So yeah, just mad about this. So I go in. Oh, I had like when I had went to, because one of like I have a main internship site, and then one of the groups that I work with is off site. So I had like started driving there, but my car was doing this really weird thing. And y'all, I'm at a point right now where I'm just terrified of my car, to be honest. It be making all kinds of things. In the past month, I've been to so many different mechanics, and it's like every time something else happens or this, and I'm just like, I really can't emotionally handle it. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna just go home because something doesn't feel right. Trust your intuition. So I get back home, I park my car, cool. Get up on Tuesday morning and I go to the car. So this is what I will say. I did fuck up and I left my lights on. I'm like, okay, cool. I just need a jump, right? But honestly, leaving my lights on, because I've done that before. Leaving my lights on, not in this car, but leaving my lights on should not have started the fucking catastrophe of just shit that it did. Maybe I don't speak car, but whatever. So I'm just like, I need to get to work. I don't have time for this. I was trying to find somebody to give me a jump. Nobody was available, so I called an Uber to work. My mom, she comes and gets me to like go back and get my car. We jump it, and then I go back to work, and then I had to like step outside real quick to go to my car, and I'm trying to turn the car on, and it's like the earlier in the day when I put the key in the ignition, nothing happened. Then this time, like it was trying to start, but it wouldn't start. So I called my mom like, yo, I need another jump. She's like, all right. So at this point, I'm like, okay, let me just clock out. I'm done trying. So we decide that we're going to take it to the store where we bought the battery from, and like ask about the warranty and see if they could just like charge it or like test the battery and see what's going on. So they test the battery, and she's like, it's good. It just needs an overnight charge because you left it on, blah, blah, blah. Cool. So we leave it there. Well, she was like, we can't do an overnight charge here. We can do a 2-hour charge, but you could take it to like the actual shop, um, and use your warranty to get like an overnight charge. And at this point, I'm like, yo, what? Ubers are expensive. I need my car. Like, I can't just be sitting in the house this week, pissed off. I'm getting angry. So then we leave my car to do the 2-hour charge. We go run errands. We come back. At this point, it's like 8, 9 o'clock at night. And time just changed. So, when we dropped the car off, I think it was about like 6 going on 7. So the sun is still out, but now we're picking up the car in the dark. So when they come to put the battery back in, the dude was struggling on his own. So his coworker come and he started trying to help him, and it's just two idiots trying to put the battery back in. They didn't know what the fuck they was doing, and I can't help you because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I also think it's kind of funny. At the same time, this was the day, if you follow my main Instagram, I had posted the screenshot of the dude who was asking me, like, could I burp? And I was like, I had told him that I could give, like, 10. I could do at least 10. I probably could do more than 10 burps, with the first 6 being, like, strong. But after that, I start to lose, like, depth and range. And while all of this was going on, I was in a conversation with that same dude. And so I don't know why I brought that up, because I don't know if that's more of a Tales of a Sensual Findom story. But for context too, I met the guy on Seeking Arrangements, and I'm on that, like, cause listen, I need a sugar daddy, I need subs, I want all that shit. Run me, I want to be so far in my bag, y'all don't even know. So if the money is out there, bring it my way, universe. Okay, do you hear me? Money. So, like, and I just want the cash in my hand. Give me a cash meet. I want a cash motherfucking meet. And a cash meet is literally just like, we meet up and you give me cash. With nothing else in exchange. Now, cash meets can be negotiated, where, like, maybe it's a public humiliation cash meet. It could be like 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes. But definitely, like, if you want to get in a findom and you're doing a cash meet, like, a cash meet is that you set your minimum. Personally, I am not willing to do cash meets for any less than $400, and that requires the $200 deposit. So you have to send me $200 first, and then in person give me the remaining two. That's like bare minimum, and that's literally for you to just take it out the ATM, for me to say thanks, loser, and walk away. If you want me to kick you in your balls, like you want some CBT, or you want to, like, kiss my feet, bow down, whatever foot worship, I'm gonna charge you more. The more time, the more money. Yeah, neither here nor there. So, that's just me personally. Some people might do less. Some people are like, $400 is chicken shit. I'm not meeting less for 6, 8. Like I said in the last one, you set your own prices. Whatever you think is a fair price that you're cool with, cool. In terms of setting prices with, like, since we're talking about sex work right now, like, spicy sites, also think about how they take out percentages. I know that my videos, I originally had them set to like 13.33, and then, like, depending on the site, I would see only, like, anywhere from, like, maybe $7 to $9 out of that 13. And I've since actually, all of my old videos, if they're a little bit more spicy and provocative, I've upped them to, like, at least anywhere between $15 to $20. But, like, my less, like, if I'm just playing with my toes in water, then it's like $6.99, $9.99, or whatever. I think I did clips that are, like, over 4 minutes, or $9.99. If they're less than 4 minutes, or if they're I think 2-minute clips are like 1 minute. Less than 2 minutes is $3.99. 2 to 3 or 4 is $6.99, and definitely anything over 4 is $9.99. Anyway, but now, like, I saw the video the other day. And it makes for nice passive income, because sometimes, like, especially like if you're having a rough day and you just wake up, and you see like your video sold. I sold a video from Halloween, and I was like, oh my god, like, that made me so happy. So I think since I've changed my prices, that video was like $9.99, and I think I only saw like five and some change from it, but $5 more than I had the other day. But I also can't cash out because cash out minimums. Ugh. But that's neither here nor there. Um, I was talking about the car fiasco. So they're taking forever to put the battery in. They finally get it, and something still feel like, but it's 9 o'clock at night. Me and my mom are just trying to go home. I've had a long day. I'm irritated. Like, me and my mom had got into it. So as I'm driving home, and I'm only like, it was where we were at was like a straight shot from where I live. And so as I'm driving home, I'm trying to jam out, get in my mood, you know? And the next thing I know, my radio keeps cutting off. So I'm like, this is fucking weird. And now I'm at the point where I'm just getting frustrated. So I just like, I think I unplugged my phone and turned it off first. Then I was like, something doesn't feel right. So then what I ended up doing was just completely unplugging it. Just rip that bitch out. So then at this point, I'm at the light before I turn onto my street. And I've told how, I don't know why my car always decides that it wants to break down right there, which is another reason why my fucking insurance is through the roof, because where I live, it's always accidents, it's always crazy stuff. And why my car just always wants to break down at that fucking intersection, I don't get it. That's like, it's be shit like this that I don't understand. I can try to like rationalize other things, but it's shit like this. Why? What lesson am I supposed to learn? I have to get home, bro. Like, why you keep doing this to me? And it's like a big ass hill, so it'll be terrifying. And then it's all this fucking traffic. I see accidents there all the time. Anyway, so I notice, like, my car gets a shaking. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? And it's literally like, it's the light, it's the car in front of me, and then it's my car. Mind you, I'm on a big ass hill. I gotta turn to go down a hill, up a hill, and back down a hill, and then turn into my neighborhood. So I notice my battery light is now flashing. So I'm like, bro, go, 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 go. The light turns green. The car in front of me goes. My shit cuts off dead. I don't know if y'all heard that, but somebody just got yelled at. Like deader than dead. So at this point, I just get out the car and I just throw my hands up, and I'm instantly hysterically crying. Cause what the fuck is my life? I'm so fed up. So I call my mom and I'm like, yo, like my car just died, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, she's like, oh, I was on my way home, but I'll like turn around. So she's coming to get me. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so tired. I can't do this. Like, and I'm like, I can't afford this shit. My job just essentially laid me off. I still got all these other shits that I need to pay. Like, what the fuck? So I'm losing my mind at this point. And luckily, bless his heart, this gentleman, he like pulled over, and I need to keep flares in your car, keep water in your car, keep blankets in your car, keep a change of clothes in your car, keep wet wipes in your car, keep some kind of weapon so that if somebody try to run up on you, you could whack a bitch in your car. Just keep all the things, keep a pillow, because you don't know. Anywho, so I don't have flares. And I didn't have anything. I couldn't put my hazards on. So I'm literally like, and people just be honking. And, you see me out the car. So obviously something is wrong with the car. You don't see any lights on the car. You see me outside of the car. So obviously something's wrong. What you honking at me for? Bitch, go around. So I'm just getting really flustered. This dude pulls up. And he's like, yo, do you need help? I'm like, yes, please. Like, my car just died, blah, blah, blah. So he's driving this big ass F-150. He pulls up and backs up in front of me. And then I don't know what he thought. He got like the jumper cables from his car. But I don't know if he really thought that they was going to be long enough to go from my car to the front of his car. So and somewhere in that, he realized, like, what the fuck am I doing? And this man know how to drive that fucking truck if I've ever seen a truck driver, okay? Because I was in the rightmost lane. There was no sidewalk. It's like the curb in a hill. And in between, like, I was right up on that curb, basically. And on the hill is a fucking telephone post. So it was really no room. He managed to get his car and back that bitch up far enough, and luckily, without hitting my car, without hitting his car, and it was like he wasn't able. bless this man's heart. Bless this man's heart. I wish him and his family so much love, peace, prosperity, just everything, like happiness. He because he was so close, he couldn't get out his car. This man crawled out his passenger side's window to get out of the car to connect his jumper cables to my car. And luckily, they, like, his were longer than mine. His were long enough to, like, the exact fit. So I'm just like, bless your heart. My mom still, she's on the phone with me. Are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. So he gives me a jump. After we disconnected, my shit immediately dies. I start crying again, because what the fuck. So by this point, I think my mom, she's like, oh, because I had put once, I had turned it back on. I did put my hazards back on. And so, then it died. So we hooked it back up, and what was on was still on. So then my mom was down the street. She was like, I can see y'all. I'm coming. So she was able to pull up behind me and put her hazards on and, like, tell people to, like, go around. So he gives me the second jump. We're sitting there for a little bit. He connects, like, he's like, all right, when I disconnected, like, go ahead, be safe. Like, I hope you're home. You need to, whatever you're doing, you need to cancel it, and you need to go home immediately. I'm like, baby, I'm right there. I literally just need to make it around the corner. That's it. Like, I don't want to be outside. Not at all. Inside 2024. Okay. So after the second jump, at this point, I think the light was green. When we disconnected it, it was red, but I could turn right. But I also had to wait for, like, no, I think the other people were going. Yeah. So I start going, my shit dies right. Like, I'm like, this is the line. I don't really know how y'all could see that, but this is like the line. And then I would turn right here. My shit died, like, as I was about to turn. So now I'm in an even more dangerous position. I'm just like, oh my God. I can't even breathe. I'm crying so hard at this point. So I had called one of my partners, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. I'm so tired. I'm just like, losing my shit. So the dude is like, I'm gonna give you another jump. But at this point, like, I don't even know what to do because it keeps dying, and I'm literally about to go. I have to go down a big ass hill, back up the big ass hill, to go back down the big ass hill, to then go up into a hill. Y'all, I was like, So when he was like, I'm gonna disconnect it and you go. Like, it really was given, like, I'm escaping the slave master. That's what it was. There's no turning back. So I'm like, okay, I gotta get off the phone. I gotta focus because I'm petrified. I get off the phone. I'm real focused. Thank God I was able to get home, park my car. So then I ended up having another conversation with my partner. And this is, like, also kind of goes into, I don't want to go too in depth about, like, my relationships because, our business is not y'all's business, but I think that, I try to share the things that I think are relevant for people to learn lessons, myself included. And it is awkward sometimes because I know that two listen occasionally. I don't know when they listen. They'll sometimes say stuff. But that's neither here nor there. So it's like, I also just try to be, like, cognizant of the things that I say. But I bring that up to say, like, I get back in the house, he calls, and he's like, how are you doing? And I'm just like, this happened, like, because all of that was so stressful, right? And so he's like, whoa, like, that's a lot. And I'm like, so this comes into play, like, later. And so that was just, like, a lot. All of it was a lot. That was on a Tuesday. So Wednesday, I mind you, I had also kind of got into it with my supervisor. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but it was just like, I feel like, it's all these changes happening at work, and there's some inconsistencies that I don't agree with, and inconveniences being made. And yeah, so I like, they asked me to do something that I genuinely didn't feel like it was my job to do. And like, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna let you know, like, this isn't my job, and I don't really like how things have been playing out. So I already got a little bit of a toot. I don't want to go to work. It's Wednesday. And I'm like, you know what? My car acting up. Fuck it. I'm using sick leave and I'm staying in the house. And that's when I ended up doing night flirt. And so the toy talk, no, not toy talk. This month's Tales of Central Findom, I talk about phone sex operations, specifically Sex Panther and Night Flirt. And so some of the conversations that I share from Night Flirt, because I'm on Night Flirt, not Sex Panther. Some of the conversations I share from Night Flirt are discussed in that. So yeah, I'm in the house, like, I'm like, let me give me a retwist. I ain't retwist my hair since like January, I think. I'm gonna have a nice spring break. Fuck this job, fuck whatever, getting a little schoolwork done, cool. And so this is a story that I'm going to tell more in depth on Patreon. So let me actually just add Patreon ads in here. Go join us. Ooh. Oh, I didn't even see you there. I was too busy double whammying it out with my Finger Pro Air and my handy dandy motherfucking thrust. Go ahead and use the link in the bio so you can double whammy it out too. Use code BBMango30 for 30% off. That's BBMANGO30 for 30% off your next nut. This month on Behind the Scenes Pole Play, available in all Patreon tiers. Fan kick 2. Push it back up to the beat. Do whatever. Look at me, I look so good. Bring it back down. Boom, boom, boom. Bring it back up. Boom, boom. Ooh, ooh. Boom, boom, boom. Be careful while practicing, y'all. Do not do things like me, okay? I know it's monkey say, not monkey do. Do as I say, not as I do. Like, on all levels, okay? Because your journey is your journey. But like, be more careful than I be. This is the disclaimer, okay? Anyway, we're gonna kick it up. And then I could do a little booty 1 and 2. Shaking that ass for some $2 bills. Shaking that ass for some $2 bills. Shaking that ass. Somebody went to the bank and they gave him $2 bills. Okay. Sugar the ass. Oh, that's what I said. I said trace it up. Available in Main Stage and Champagne Room. This month on Toy Talk, Mango discusses anal play. Now, obviously, unless you're like really flexible, you can't eat your own ass. If you can, you need to start a business right now, and you need to start doing like flex training classes, because your girl's trying to eat her own pussy. So you got your first customer right here. Or maybe we could do some kind of exchange, because right now the funds ain't really in the spot to be paying people to teach me how to do stuff. That's why I learn on my own. But we could like collab and something, teach me how to eat my own pussy. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, because we're talking about butt stuff. If you want me to peck you, boo, just say that. If you want me to eat your ass, boo, just say that, okay? Because we having sex. We making each other feel good. And if this is what's going to make me feel good, then go ahead and try it. Like, consent is enthusiastic, yes. Like, I want this. Like, yes, I want you to eat my ass. I want you to gobble me up like it's the last motherfucking supper. What? Whew. Flashbacks. Anyway, available only in the Champagne Room. This month on Tales of the Sensual Findom, Mango discusses phone sex operation sites, Sex Panther and Night Flirt. And I think I talked about this in a regular episode. So the dude messaged me and he sends a picture of him like in a dark room on his knees with his head bowed down, and he's like, on my knees bowing down to your perfect ass, goddess. And I said, a good boy who knows his place. And he says, yes, goddess, I'll beg to grovel and be a bitch for your perfect ass. Please, can I call, goddess? So I said, you need to beg harder than that, bitch. Show me how badly you want to worship me. So he's like, your ass owns my life. I'm your bitch. You win. I submit. Please, can I grovel to you on the phone, my superior ebony goddess? So I said, I always win. When I get finished with this pig, I'll ruin you next. And he's like, thank you, goddess. I'll wait on my knees for permission to call. He's like, hello. And I could tell immediately he was masturbating off bucks. I had an ex hit me up, right? And what I thought was funny about it was a couple of days before he popped up on my timeline, and something about it just felt like weird timing, and something was weird about it. I was like, and this is, I need to, girl, like, listen to your fucking intuition, because I was like, I know, like, this is an omen. He is an omen, okay? One of my unholy trinity, okay? He is a omen. He is a plague to this earth. If you are listening to this, I don't like you. And you know, I've sat on this for a while. One of the quotes that, and it's, I think it was actually after all of this happened, the story that I'll tell. After all of that happened, I think one of my, and that's what I was kind of talking about, like, be grateful for what you thought you wanted never materialized, because it was a lot of things that I wanted with people or just things, and it's like I was heartbroken or I was upset, but everything happened for a reason, and I'm glad. I think, what was this? I had did a tarot reading, and okay, so this was literally a couple of days after the morning. I think the morning that this happened, I had been thinking about words, still, and so let me get to my journal. I did some reflection, when a new moon or a balsamic waning crescent, if you do moon mapping, a waning crescent, balsamic moon just means like a renewal, like you're about to start. So I believe that we are either in or approaching, by the time this comes out, will probably be, I don't know off the top of my head, because I also did not plan on talking about this, but right now, since it's April 1st, I think we're approaching a renewal, and by the time this comes out, because this, y'all, I'm going to Dreamville. I purposely didn't say that in the episode that comes before this, because I don't be wanting y'all to be all up in my business. So I didn't want y'all to hear me talking about Dreamville and then think y'all was going to run up on me at Dreamville. Like, no ma'am. If you saw me, you saw me, and we had a motherfucking time, okay? But yeah, so by the time this comes out, this will be like April 11th. So April 11th, hey y'all, in 2 days, April 13th, 2S1P is 1 year fucking old. We did it, y'all. Through all the trials and tribulations, we still here. And just to think about the growth, but I talk about it another time. Anyway, so, before this part of the story that I'm about to tell now had happened, I had did like some reflection. And so this is part of the story that I read out too. Like, I feel like the thick of things really started around the full moon, February 24th. And that's where I was more cognizant of what was going on. But then I think about just like during a renewal, you're supposed to reflect on what has manifested since the new moon. So the last new moon, in this point, at the time of March 9th, it was between February 9th and March 9th. And between, what is this? Oh, so yes, because this is the time that I'm doing it. So between February 9th and March 9th, the 9th through the 16th, that particular week, I had re-exposure to PTSD. And I kind of I think I talked about this in 2 episodes ago, 2 Dead Bitches at the Hibachi Spot, where I was talking about seeing the dude steal the M. Dot truck, and just kind of go on like a crash course spree. And in the moment, like, I was able to watch it, and I was just like, yo, this is happening. But that's really what started like this kind of like trigger cycle. And I had noticed that also too, my very first accident happened in February of 2018. So it was already like an anniversary period. And then I had also started pole dancing, I think on the same day, February 12th of 2020. And this is where I had like first started my individual therapy session, and me and one of my partners weren't talking, and then I had like this really kind of just like what the fuck text from a sub. So it was just like a lot of like, I feel like a lot of tension was starting, and that's really important because through all of this, like, it was hard for me to do a lot of things because I was storing a lot in my body, but I was truly living in my pain body. So then, and this is where like these things were happening, and I wasn't aware of this. I wasn't aware of this until months late, like until this time as I'm writing it down. Well, really, I kind of came to this realization, the week of the 24th, because when I emailed my professors to say like, I'm not going to come to class because this happened with my car, I was like, oh wait, like, and at this time we're talking about PTSD in class, and I'm like, yo, like, this actually started a couple weeks ago. I've been tensed up, it's been hard for me to do things, blah 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 blah. And then like being exposed to my PTSD while reading about PTSD, and then also seeing in all the other ways that PTSD has shown up, like all the different traumas that I've experienced, have just been like, whoa. So it was a lot. So then between the 17th and the 23rd is where I was really working on, so like the first week, it was just things that were happening that I wasn't paying attention to. The 17th through the 23rd is where I started getting connected to my spirituality, and I'm learning more about PTSD. I just, ironically, we didn't have the conversation yet. And then I'm like, starting these thought processes. The 24th through the 1st is when all of the response start happens, and the car troubles, and like the first week, it was when I wasn't talking to one of my partners. And the second week, we reconnected. Then the third week, this is when we had like this really kind of like breakthrough conversation, and I'm asking for like all of these things during this week. Then that next week, I noticed that was a connection with just like my sexual energy. We ended up talking about like having a sex-based discussion in class about like sexual dysfunctions and paraphilic disorders, which I will talk more about that once I actually can get into the thick of my research. And it was like Women's History Month is starting, and then thinking about sex workers' rights, taking the train to school, like introducing this idea of ease into my life, making these connections between, I'm always talking about what is the connection, how can I mold all of these together. So starting to see those pan out. And then I did tarot cards. So I realized and so March 10th, because I'm trying to get into daily journaling, we have our struggles. We're there. Almost. So I've always said, I want to live a soft life. I want to live with ease. And I've talked about how I struggle with this balance of masculinity and femininity. And so I had actually did yoga on the 10th, and yoga with Adrian. Shout out to you if you are listening to this, or someone who knows you who's listening to this. I fucking love you. Okay, I love you so much. So she was talking about sukha, which is a word that means comfort, ease, and openness. And so I was thinking about so what I had tried to start doing in March was I had did the flow challenge in January, February, and I was trying to find another challenge to do for the 30 days. I had taken like a week break. I was like, okay, let me get back into the thick of things, and I just never did because whatever. And so this one was like revolution, and I think this might have been like my third or fourth day, and the word that like so the first challenge was flow. This challenge was revolution. And so I'm thinking about like flow into ease. And what does that even look like? Trusting your intuition, being present, living an easier and softer life, and extending those softness to others, and it takes a lot of work and intention. And so I made it my new moon intention to move with ease, which I've also kind of talked a little bit about. Like I've been in this kind of rebrand area. I had said crisis identity, but I meant to say identity crisis in Two Dead Bitches at the Hibachi Spot. But I was having a bit of like an identity crisis, or persona crisis, of just trying to figure out what exactly is my dom style, right? I naturally ignore people, not on purpose. I be overwhelmed, y'all. I had to turn my message box off on Instagram because I just can't. And people are still sending me DMs. Like I keep trying to bring down my notifications, but I just get crippling anxiety. It's so hard for me to respond when my notifications, and like these are the highest of it's ever been. I have emails, I have fucking Twitter, I have Instagram, I have text messages, just everything, so many numbers. I had wrote move with intention. I'm the real MGP. MGP is my take on MVP, mistress, goddess, princess. Like that's the energy. Like I can give you what you need. You need a mistress to whip you into shape, whip your ass, I got you. But that's also built, like that's reserved for certain subs that we've built that relationship with. And I talk a little bit more about that in Tales of a Sensual Findom. And then, you know, in general, I'm a goddess. I'm a princess. I've always called myself a princess. I want to live a soft life. I am living a soft life. So really just trying to channel that energy, and what does that look like for me? So what can I take advantage of? Like, you know, when I first got into this, I remember DMing Mistress Marley, and I was like, you know, I really want to, I want to go into this, like thinking about ignore fetish and foot fetish. So now I'm really trying to put a little bit more emphasis on feet. And then also just like, I naturally ignore people, not on purpose. So how can I use this to my advantage to make money, right? Like the real mistress, goddess, princess is somewhere too busy for you. If you not dropping money, then I'm definitely not paying attention to you. And even when you are dropping money on me, I'm still not paying attention to you, because what makes you think that a little weakling simp like you is worthy of my attention? Send. So yeah, then I was like getting into tarot cards. I noticed that in January, my tarot had a lot of air, so there was a lot of like, and this is where I started like rebranding the podcast, because I was still on winter break, and I was stepping back in and like really getting the hang of the podcast. There's like a lot of ideas and creativity there, but a lot of water. There was like, I don't think I had any water cards. And so I had pulled the tarot. Was this the day of, or I don't. Oh, okay. So I had like went back and looked at all of the ones that I pulled in February. A lot of things have been down. There weren't that many. Well, at one point I put 1, 2, 3, 4 cup cards, which are like a symbol for water. And only 2 of those cups had been up, but the other 2 had been down. And it was just like, for the most part, when I compare everything, I'm missing water, very heavy on air. And so I thought that was interesting, that moving into February with this realization, or I don't know if I had the realization there, but February, like missing water and then moving into flow, which water flows. So just like simple words like that. And I was able to also make a connection, which do I want to talk about this now? Because I wasn't actually able to finish this until after the story. No, I'll wait, because that's why I picked this up. That's the story that I'm going to tell on Patreon. When all of this was happening, I think like it happened on the 13th, and then I had to take a couple of days to recuperate from that. And I had pulled another set of tarot cards, and it was like the King of Swords down. And so one of the things it says is, how do you respond to chaos? Don't act from a desire to punish. When your expectations are not met, it may be second nature to act out of revenge or desire to make the other party suffer. Think instead of what would be more productive. Use the king's logic for ethical purposes. And I read that because when this thing happened, when it happened, I really, truly was trying to be graceful, because I understood that what happened was an accident. At the root of everything, I hope that I'm not like, people are, oh, you're naive in this. I'm not naive. And I just want better for the world regardless. Like, I want to believe that people can be good. I want to believe that, I just, people can be good. Why they choose not to, I don't know. So when this happened, I immediately recognized that it was an accident. And I'm like, cool. I'm not mad at you. Get yourself together. But also realize this isn't my job to take care of. You did the action. Do whatever you need to do to get yourself together. And then, clean up after yourself. So, as I was watching it all happen, I'm sitting right here on this very couch, and I'm just like, this is fucking insanity. This is crazy. Like, this is the shit that be happening to me, and it don't be making no sense. So as I'm sitting there too, though, I'm like, how do I even, because I'm realizing how, like, the ramifications of what just happened. This is not going to be no easy cleanup, like this is all done over with, we can go about our day. No, this is going to take some time. You're going to be here for a while, and I have to also process like being in your presence for so long. And as I'm doing that, I'm just thinking about like other people who might call me or whatever, and I'm like, this is embarrassing. Like, if somebody try to call me, I don't really want to be on the phone. I don't want to be bothered. And how do I even explain this? Is this something that I even want to share? So I'm really in my head like, nah, I'm not going to tell nobody. This going to go to the grave with me, right? Because I'm also just like, to what I've said before, it's not like I live my life looking for the next podcast moment. Absolutely not. I tell you the shit that happens to me as it happens, because it's just so fucking ridiculous. And maybe the same ridiculous thing is happening to someone else, but it's also because I've processed it enough to be able to get something out of it to share with y'all. Not just to like, I'm not just on here trying to be spiteful to just whatever. Like, no. So I'm sitting here like, this is not something that this is going to go to the grave. I don't want to talk about it, blah, blah, blah. So things start playing out, and I'm trying to be, keep in the back of my head, this is an accident, it's cool, like, shit happens, be graceful. And I'm also, at the same time, as I'm watching this clean, I'm gonna put it in quotation marks, join me on Patreon, y'all. As I'm watching this, I get all these flashbacks, because I already said it was one of my exes, one of my unholy trinity. As I'm watching all of this, I'm like, yo, this isn't gonna work. Like, I'm getting flashbacks of like, this is part of the reason why I left you. This is part of the reason why we're not together. And I can't do this. So I'm sitting here in my head trying to formulate, how am I gonna get out of this situation? Like, I just need to be by myself right now. I am gonna have to clean this up. I can't do it. So I tell him to stop what he's doing, and I'm like, yo, you gonna have to run me some money, bruh. Like, cause this ain't even cool. So, and before I said it, I really sat there, cause I was like, yo, cause I didn't want, understanding that it was an accident, and genuinely, I could say that there was an attempt. There was an attempt. But it just wasn't going to work. And I knew that I was still going to have to do something. And it was either I was going to have to go behind and clean, or I was going to have to sit here and essentially nag the person to do it. And I don't want to be that nagging person. Like, if I ask you to, I tell you, I'm fine washing the dishes. All I need you to do is rinse it. And you can't do that. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. I asked you to do something, you're not going to do it. So if you're not going to do it, somebody got to do it. That's me. So if you get up and you leave something that I've asked you before to rinse, you don't, like, you get up, this tea right here, the bag is in there. Instead of just leaving this, there's still juice in here, so it's not just like stuck to the cup. But if you leave a tea bag in a cup, it's gonna get stuck to the cup. Now you got to do more like elbow grease. No, I can go dump the water in the sink, throw the fucking tea bag in the trash and rinse it and put it in the sink and come back and wash it later. So you got whatever on the plate, you get up and you leave the plate there, but you go to the kitchen to get something to drink, or you go to the bathroom that's right next to the kitchen, you can't just run some water on that and throw that in the sink. So if you get up and I see that you're clearly going somewhere, that you could have did this, I know you're going to come back and sit right back down and pretend like that's not there, like that's not sitting there. But you still want to expect me to wash the dishes. But you're not doing what I've asked you to do. So therefore, yes, I'm not about to sit here and complain, because clearly complaining gets us nowhere. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put it in the sink and rinse it to make my job easier. So you see me doing that. Yo, you ain't even give me a chance. What you mean give you a chance, bruh? It's right there. You in the kitchen anyway. You washing your hands in the sink anyway, bro. Like, and you didn't think, let me take this plate. Oh, I was going to do it. No, if you were going to do it, you would have did it. What? So it's shit like that. I'm having all these flashbacks of just moments like that. And I'm like, I didn't like doing that. You didn't like hearing that. Like, that's not fun for anybody. I don't want to be that person. And here I am trying to extend you grace. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how much longer I can be nice about this. And I don't want to have this ugly side of me come out, but I'm also not about to just excuse this and let it be. So yeah, you gotta run me some money, right? So we start going back and forth, and I'm like, nah, bruh. Like, he's like, I'm cleaning. And I give him that, like, there was an effort to clean, but I'm sitting here and I'm watching your process, and bro, you don't know what clean is. I'm still gonna have to come behind you and clean. Like, and this, it's not something that I can just like, oh, I'm gonna get to it when I get to it. No, this has to be clean right fucking now. ASAP Rocky. So yeah, like, you gotta give me the money. Damage has been done. Give me the money. I even said, like, you could treat me like Klarna. Like, you gotta pay me right now and give me the rest whenever. And it was the nah. Yeah, but I was trying to clean, but you don't know how to clean. You don't know how to clean, bro. So we have a little conversation, and then this is where I really started to get irritated, because as I'm like, okay, run me the money. He's like, I don't got that. And I'm like, all right, what do you have? I'm trying to work with you. You like, I got this. I'm like, okay, cool. So then after I'm like, send it. So before you send it, you talking about some, oh, you're not going to tell nobody about this, right? You're not going to go on the podcast and talk about it. You really think I want to sit here and tell people about how a nigga fucking threw up all over my shit, bro? That's not something that I want to brag about, right? And so now it's like, you really, and here I am, and I'm not bragging about it. I had to, like, after some thought and sit down, I had to, like, process it. Because I was, the people that I did talk to, I was so upset. Like, when that shit happened, I was so upset. And I think about acting out of revenge, because I really had some choice words for that man, and I had so many things to say, and I could, like, but what? That just works me up. That works me up. And you get away scotch-free while I'm all mad, and you being the compulsive liar that you are, you gonna go and spin this story somehow, some way to somebody else. Like, what? And you really sitting here like, in your head, you just damaged my property, and I'm asking you to send me money to replace the property that you just damaged, and the first thing that pops up in your head is, oh, she gonna go talk shit about me on a podcast? And for that, I am. Because what? What the fuck? Like, what goes on through that pea brain imbecile? Like, it's not even a fucking brain, my nigga. Like, it's a pea. It literally is a pea. Come on. So, then I'm just like, I don't say nothing. I'm just like, bro. Because in my head at this point, I'm like, it's not like I'm running to go tell y'all this. It's, I'm going to tell it when it's time to tell it, when it's necessary. And even then, I'm not about to say, I'm still trying to be ambiguous so that people don't know who I'm talking about. People who I have personally spoken to, or who you have told, because you tried to make it seem like you was gonna bury this shit on the rug and nobody was ever gonna know, especially with how you handled it, because I have a feeling that your little dumbass is listening anyway. So it's like, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, it's not in my head. It's not in my head to be having this conversation with people about you. I just want you out of my house. I want my things replaced. I want my house clean. I'm tired. I like this project that I'm about to start talking about in a minute. This is my spring break. This is Wednesday of my spring break. And we had to do this over the course of 7 weeks. Mind you, it was supposed to be like a week between each, but because so many things kept happening, like I kept falling asleep, I was falling behind on work because of all the car troubles and getting locked out of my apartment, like just I kept having to push it back. So now we're at, I finished 5, but I still had to do 2 more. And I had planned out in my planner, like, okay, I'm gonna do this painting this day, because it had to be at least minimum 3 days in between each painting, because you wanted to really track changes. So I'm like, all right, I planned it out. So before this had happened, I had like homework on the table, and I had like finished writing notes for the 5th one, and I started preparing my paper for the 6th one. So then in a couple of days I could do the 7th one, and then I could write my 5-page paper about these 7 artworks. But you just threw up on the last piece I finished and the piece I was getting ready to start. And yeah. So then, I'm looking at it and I'm like, actually, bro, I know you said you could only do this, but you're going to have to run me at least this. What, da-da-da. Can we do like this instead? No, you can send me what you got now. He's like, all right, I'll send you this today, and I get paid on Friday. I'll send you the remaining on Friday. Cool. So they get to apologize, and I'm like, bro, like, I've been asking you this whole time, and it was funny because earlier when we were talking, because the day was fine. The day was fine. He caught himself trying to show off for me. And in that, and again, it's all of this is happening, I'm like, I'm not mad at you, because I knew that this is a result of you trying to show off and be cute, and now you're embarrassed. Just take a breath, babe. Get yourself together. Not mad. I just know I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do it. So, like, do whatever you need to do. I even offered, like, yo, if you need to take a little power nap, I'm not going to be out here with you. I'm minding my business. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone. If you need to take a power nap on the couch to recuperate before you start cleaning, cool. But, like, I'm not doing it. So I'm extending you so much grace, and this is how you're coming back at me. So then, the whole time I'm just like, bro, just I'm literally walking him through, like, here, I got all the cleaning supplies, put it on the table, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. And you just still, but not even trying to clean, you just keep trying to talk to me and apologize. I don't need to hear a sorry. I just need to see you trying to fix what just happened. That is the sorry. So after I tell him pay me, and I'm like, nah, you gotta do this, and he sends me the money in that moment, and he started getting ready to leave, and he just keep apologizing. So at this point, I'm fed up, I'm irritated. I don't want you in my space. So I start getting upset, rightfully so. And I'm like, yo, like, You keep saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. That's all you've ever had to say. And all the time that I've known you, all you've ever had to say is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I was like, you're a sorry ass nigga. Y'all. This man, I guess he thought it was a flex. As he's like buttoning up his shirt, he's like, yeah, that's what she said too. The fuck? Are you really trying to flex that one of your exes called you a sorry ass nigga? Get the fuck out of my house, bro. So even at this point, like, it still took me a while because I'm sitting here internalizing that shit. Like, what was going through my head to be with a nigga like this? Like, I saw the signs, but like, I had a personal ick. Why did I think that this was a person that I wanted to be with, right? Like, and so going back to like one of the things that I said, it's like at one point in time, this was one of the people that I just knew I was going to spend my life with. I was so ready to spend my life with that person. And then this. And then I'm just thinking about, like, it was always there. He was always like that. And why you made excuses? Because at a point you settled or whatever. Like, it just, like, so then I start internalizing this shit. So join Patreon for like the nitty gritty details of just how insanely crazy this story has been, because it's still in some parts unfolding. So it took me, after I kicked him out, I'm cleaning and I'm frustrated, and this kind of brings up like the conversation with my partner. Like, I had reached out, and then I had already been wanting to talk to him about some unrelated things, and I was just really overwhelmed. And it's like every time that we talked in this past time, like every time we managed to have a conversation, it was while I was in the thick of something just really emotionally heavy and intense. And I have been trying to be a better communicator verbally, because I am good at writing, but I think that's also because I can curate it more. And I try not to curate it in a way to, I curate it in a way that I acknowledge, like, you can tell that I have reflected on whatever I'm saying. I acknowledge, I apologize, and I try to figure out where to move forward. And I also try to be objective of like, this is what happened. This is like the sequence of events, and this is how we got here. And like, I apologize for how my emotions played. So, I texted him, and I'm like, yo, like, I had called him to ask for help with something, and I texted him like, yo, like, when you get a chance, let's talk, because we had a conversation that was a little risky a while ago, but we were able to like get through it. And one of the things that he had said to me, like, after we both were able to reflect and come back and talk, it was like, what are you saying versus what are you really trying to say? And so what happened with the ex reminded me, not reminded me, but it was relevant to something that I had already been planning on having a conversation with him about. And so then from there, I'm still emotional. Like, when he finally got the chance to call me back, like, I'm still in the thick. Like, I think at this point, I'm like 3 hours into cleaning. Y'all, it took me 5 hours after the incident occurred to clean up. And I wasn't able to actually like recover my apartment, because it ended up affecting my entire apartment, until it took me a total of like 3-4 days. So back to the conversation with my partner, like, I'm still quite literally in the thick of cleaning. I'm emotionally overwhelmed. I'm just tired. I'm exhausted, like everything. And I tried to start the conversation off with that, like, what are you trying to say versus what are you trying to say? But somewhere in me trying to express myself, things got misconstrued. And so then it became an argument. And I don't like to call them arguments, because it was genuinely a misunderstanding between the both of us. So it was like, somewhere in that, I said something that didn't sit right with him, and now we're coming at each other's necks. And it was like, this was never my intention. But something that he said to me was like, yo, like, you're not as in control of your emotions as you think you are. And I'm like, nigga, fuck you. Yes, I am. Like, that pissed me off, right? And so he's like, you yelling at me, you doing this. And I genuinely wasn't, right? Because what had happened, I had to take down and move stuff. So my apartment, all of the echoes, and I had headphones, and 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure he was in a car connected to the speaker. So I sound much louder than I am, but I actually, y'all, I was like talking like this. I was trying to be calm, especially since I had just spent the previous like 2-3 hours yelling. I didn't want to do that, and this isn't your problem. So he's like, you're not in as control of your emotions as you think you are, da da da. And I'm like, yes, I am. Yes. So I'm like, oh, I just need to lower my tone a little bit more. Like I'm like, I'm not yelling at you. I promise you, I'm not yelling at you. Da da da. And I'm trying to like control that. But then, after reflecting, I realized what he said. It's like thinking about every time in the past like month that we've talked. When you call me, like, I don't even have the consideration to ask you, do you have the capacity to hold me right now? Like, because I'm going through a lot of shit. You've told me how you going through a lot of shit. And as soon as hey, babe, how was your day? Man, oh my God. Da, da, da. And I notice every time we talk, it's that. And I'm just and not giving myself a chance to breathe, not even really checking in with him, seeing, so it was in the moment, I was like, nah, fuck you, nigga, I am in control of my emotions. If I wasn't in control of my emotions, I would have did this, that, and the third. But then I was like, no, he's right. I'm not. So I bring that up because now it took me 3 days to do that and like kind of bring myself down from all of that. And it caused a huge halt in everything I was doing because the mess was so massive that it affected all parts. Like, it was shit that I had to move to my shower to clean. I'm not getting in a shower that's filled with puke. No, I have to clean out my shower. There's like actual objects. I can't do my homework because artwork has been ruined. I had to Clorox wipe my homework. That is a crazy sentence. That is insane. I had stuff out on my balcony because I needed it to air dry, and it was like I was able to rinse it, but I have to go back and Clorox wipe down this stuff. I can't start my homework until I had Patreon. So, I had all of this time to reflect on what happened, and it forced me to actually sit down and go to sleep first. And this is leading up to, because this happened the week of the 13th. So then, the next week was when my school, what was it? The applications were due. So I just knew my spring break was I'm going to get this assignment out the way. I'm going to get my routine together. I'll probably take like a day trip somewhere. Like, I'm really going to put more into myself. But no, here I am now spending 3 days cleaning up after someone else's mess. Which then pushes back me doing my homework, which pushes back, like, because everything was everywhere. I could not live in my apartment, essentially. So then, so we're now moving into that weekend. Is when my thing was due for the show. So at this point, I'm like, my body hurt. I don't even want to do nothing. So then we start transitioning in to the week of the 17th, the 23rd. But when I sat back, as inconvenient and annoying as that whole process was, and let me see, because I was like, I realized, like, this is something I will eventually talk about, but what is the point of it? So, what was funny though, before I was met with the throw up, I think that, no, I didn't work that Tuesday. I had woke up in the morning. I asked myself, like, why am I not soft? And I realized that because I don't leave room for softness and I don't practice it. And I say that in the way of, like, because I'm very much a do-it-yourself kind of person. Where was it? Because I kind of ended up reflecting on that later of, like, what I even meant by that. But I think about, I've talked about how it's hard for me to accept help because a lot of times when someone has offered help, it's been, they end up throwing it back on me later. Maybe they don't get the recognition or appreciation they felt that they deserved. Or it's just like, you took it upon yourself to say you're going to show up for me and then you don't. And I really do feel like if you tell me that you're going to do something, yes, I could remind you, but that isn't my responsibility, because then after a certain point, it feels like I'm nagging or I'm just a beggar or this, that, and a third, or, I'm not considerate of whatever it is you're going through. I didn't ask you to offer something. I might ask you, I'm going to ask you the first time, but I'm never going to ask you again. Based on how I feel you handle my first request. And I really don't feel like I'd be asking for out-of-pocket things. But, I'll ask. It's up to you to show up. If you don't, cool, I got it. But when you offer, you should follow up. I shouldn't have to come behind you and be like, yo, remember when you said da 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 da? I might do that once, but I'm not like, no. So, I was thinking of like later this week. So I asked myself, like, I realized I'm not soft because I just don't leave room for that. So in instances like that, I try to extend to other people. I get disappointed and I revert back to, that's why I should have just did it myself. A more simpler example though, which I really think is like, I don't practice it and I don't like, I got it. I think about when I was at one of my jobs, I was lifting something. It was like I was trying to put a box onto a dolly. And the box, it's a little heavy, but it's nothing I can't handle. So as I'm doing this, one of the janitors, he comes up. He's like, hey, Ma, like, do you need help? And I'm like, nah, I got it. He's like, okay. And then he walks away. And not even a minute later, another janitor comes up. Hey, Ma, you need help? Nah, I got it. Okay. And walks away. If you don't take this fucking box and put this on the dolly for me, but like I didn't allow that for whatever reason because I got it. Yeah, I got it, but that doesn't mean I have to have it. So that is just something like I really am trying to get more into the practice of doing that. And I actually like, where did I write it down? So in all of this that happened in on March 19th, so when I finally was able, because maybe, did that happen the 4th? I don't know. But later that week, this is some things from my journal. Having a hard time with flow, feeling too tense, struggling with ease. What am I doing to live easily? Why is it so hard to be soft? Because I just have trust issues and I don't make room for it. And so what I've been trying to do every day is I have these like little meditation cards and affirmation cards, and then I said I have the Third Eye app. So I haven't really used the meditation cards too much, but I'll pull an affirmation card and then eventually I'll go on to Third Eye app, and I use like the one that pops up on Instagram feed and the one like I'll usually write down both if I see both that day, and then depending on the day I'll do like a tarot reading. I haven't done a tarot reading probably since this one, and this is the one where I pulled the card that was like, so this is after everything happened. This is the one that was like, how do you respond to chaos? Because the hatefulness in me could have like just really ripped that nigga a new asshole, but I was like, what's the point? It's no point. So this day my affirmation card said, today I am flexible. Today I will adapt to changes in my life with an open mind and a positive outlook. So I think about, as I've said with my car, like protection, flexibility, and capability. So protection in the sense of like my car not breaking down in a dangerous spot. Flexibility of having to like, okay, catch the train, work with other people to like either get Ubers or to catch a ride, and just like being flexible in that sense, being able to move things around. And capability. So during this time too, while my car was out, I had actually went to one of my friends. Their son had a birthday party, and it wasn't too far from me. So I grew up walking. I didn't get my license till I was like 19, so I was public transportation. Walking somewhere was nothing to me, and I've been an athlete, pole dancer, cheerleader. Like, I've been an athlete my whole life. So, and I was thinking too, I had saw like there's somebody who lives in my building who is wheelchair bound now because he got shot, like just crazy shit. And I think I had saw something earlier on my feed that day about somebody else who had like a walking disability, and I really was just thinking like I am grateful that like I was able to walk. I ended up walking 3.2 miles to that birthday party. I stopped at the dispensary, and then I went to the birthday party, and then I caught a ride home. And it was just like the fact that I could even do that. And why I did it, I don't know. I was just really feeling myself in bold, and I didn't want to spend no fucking, like, it was a really nice day outside, and I didn't want to spend no money on an Uber, because Ubers, when Ubers first came out, they were $3. They came out my freshman year of college, $3 bro. Now I wish I would ever see an Uber for $3. It's like minimum you spend. The least I've spent so far is $9, but it's usually like at least $10, $12. So, and that's not even including if you tip. Some of y'all motherfuckers don't be tipping. So I'm just like, yeah, like I was feeling good. I wasn't feeling bad. I'm capable, y'all. My hips were on fucking fire the next day. So like looking at that with my car, then with everything that happened with my ex, the way that I had to turn it around, it was like, I had been saying I've been wanting to get rid of things. I've been telling y'all I need to get rid of shit because I'm getting my house, y'all. I'm getting my house. So to do that, I need to get rid of things. So this is like one of those moments where the universe is just wants to be funny, and it's like, bro, you couldn't have thought it any other way for me to get rid of this shit. Like you just, that was your solution. And then also the idea of like letting go and letting be, and blocking. I don't know why I have an issue with blocking, but I do. And just like, well, it depends. Like I have a certain threshold that has to be reached, and now I'm just like, nope. The minute you show me, block. I just, what's the purpose? And so, when people show you who they are, and I was thinking like, okay, this is what I wrote. Blanks shit. Getting rid of things, letting go and letting be, block in all caps. When people show you who they are, but I knew that it was going to be some bullshit, and at least I would get something out of it. And I gave grace, and I just don't like how it was handled. And so what I mean by that, and maybe that's like that karma, like, bitch, whatever. But it was like, I knew that something wasn't right. I was like, but I'm gonna just egg it on and be whatever. Like, let me hear a nigga out, see what he gotta say. I know it's gonna be some dumb shit. Like, and I don't think, like, before this, I didn't think the person was a bad person. I think that, they do have a good aura around them. Like, they're fun to talk to. They are fun to hang out with. But then it's just like, when it gets to like your character and your morals, that's where it's fucked up. And it's like, yeah, bruh. So it's like, I knew I wasn't gonna have a crazy time with you. I knew it wasn't gonna be like, I just knew it was gonna be like one of those days. It's like, okay, well, we'll hang out, we'll see what happens. Like, I'll get a chuckle, we'll, whatever. So I'm like, all right, you want to see me, nigga? You gotta come get me, and we gonna run a couple errands. Like, my time ain't free. we not friends. That's the thing. Like, I'm not in the business of using nobody, but we're not friends. I haven't talked to you in how long, and now all of a sudden you wake up and decide, oh, because you're in my area, you want to hang out. Okay, cool, we can hang out, but my car did, so you gotta come get me. What we about to, where we about to eat at? Oh, and I need to stop at a store, like, and it wasn't nothing crazy. But maybe that's just like my karma. And so yeah, I really, in all of it, tried to extend grace. And it wasn't up until all of that happened that I was like, yo, you didn't even deserve that. So then I started thinking about, like, just because, where did I wrote that? So eventually, before I get into that. So then I had got like the tarot card, and I just kind of started thinking about, what that really means. And then fast forward, by this point, I had finished my project. So I'll insert pictures in here. And, from the first one, everything was good. I had started my project like right away, because I had counted the weeks. It was like 13 weeks. And I was like, everybody was like, well, when will we have to start? And I told everybody, at the latest, you have to start by here, blah, blah. I just knew I was going to be on top of it. And so, by the time I got to the second one, that's when I told y'all I got locked out. So then by the third one, what happened this day? So because I kept falling asleep and kept getting like behind on other things, I was able to do the next one by the time I had, like when I had to take the train to work. So after my car initially broke down and I had that week between spring break, I had did a painting there. And then this is the one that got like, one of them got thrown up on. And even when I had did that one, like, I don't think I had finished my reflective notes, because what I would do is I would write down the notes of just how my day went. Then I would do the painting. Then I would write like any of my noticings or how I felt afterwards. And then this happened. What was this? So then I had to like pivot. So in this last one, and if you're listening, I'll post it in the story, but the last two were what happened after all this happened. So thinking about, when I look at all of this, right, I just think it's so interesting how I was talking about, I'm lacking flow, I'm lacking ease, I'm experiencing this tension in my body. This project was done using watercolor. Water is a flowy medium. Water is also like watercolor. We talk about control. If you don't know what you're doing, or even when you do know what you're doing, sometimes it's hard to control because the water flows, it moves. And so I just thought it was interesting that I just decided to pick, because the guidelines is you pick a medium, and a medium is just material, and you have to stick with that over the course of the actual, it's called a gel. The actual is 12 weeks, but it's we shorten it to 7 weeks for the sake of the semester. So you pick the same medium, so the same brushes, the same paint, the same type of paper, the same object, and you just recreate it over and over. And so I thought it was interesting that, in the beginning, I picked this in January, because my first one was January 26th, and then my last one was March 18th, and the paper was due the 19th. My last one would have been March like 15th, but anyway. So starting out January feeling good, getting in this creative flow, and like asking for flow, exploring this idea of flow, and then tensing up and not being able, like feeling tension in my body, having a rough time using this medium. Like I feel like my first one was the best one, and as I continued to go through them, they just got progressively worse. I was feeling all kinds of frustrations throughout them, and given the things that were going on in my life, all of that was frustrating. So I thought that was like, once I wrote the paper, I was like, there's something there, that's interesting. Like I'm struggling with flow and ease in my personal life. I picked something that requires like this idea of flow and ease and control, and I feel like I have none of that right now. And comparing like all of the changes that happened, and I think like when I got to the seventh one, what was interesting was by that point I had already because I had the conversation with my teacher about why did you pick what you picked? What is your relationship to the objects? So I'm like, why did I pick these? Like I was trying to do like an interesting composition, But I want to focus my work on dom stuff, and that sex work identity. And so I knew right away I wanted to do the paddle, but why did I really throw the glass in there? Because if I wanted to practice glass, I could have just did that on my own. So I started trying to think about, like, well, how can I emphasize the paddle and doing different zoom ins. And at one point I had thought about changing the orientation like I did in that 7th one, and I was just like, no, like it would be too much of a change. But then when all this shit happened, I said, you know what, fuck it, I need to get shit done, let me just do it. So I did it, and the paper, there was a lot of changes with this, obviously, like the time frame that I did it, the type of paper, because motherfucker threw up on the paper. There's, if you don't know, watercolor, there's hot press and there's cold press. I don't really know the difference because this is my first time really working with watercolor for real. But there is a difference. I'm not a big fan of cold press. So I didn't have any more of the paper that I was using. I literally had 2 sheets left for my 2 pieces. And motherfucker threw up on that. So I had to go find, like, luckily I had this other paper in the house. So it was like there was a change in paper, there was a change in orientation, there was a change in time of day, there was a change in mood, circumstances, all of this. So I started kind of doing that. I cranked this out. Didn't mean to do such a zoomed in view of this. It just happened, and I was like, whatever. And so it was my intention to still keep this idea, but zoom out a little bit more so you can get the majority of the paddle. But then I did the thing that I did in the first one, that it was like, after I finished it, I compared all of them, when we're really not supposed to compare to the end. But I was like, no, I'm gonna, I want to see what they look like, because I got one more to do. And when I did that, it felt out of place. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to end on that. I'm going to go back and try to do the whole composition. Cause I slowly kept just like zooming in, and like trying to get rid of the glass, but I couldn't really get rid of the glass because at this point it was such a part of the composition. And it did feel empty without it, because even in this 7th one, I had the lower stem, the glass. You still know that there is a glass there, and so maybe I need to unpack that more. But anyway, it was like I had actually I think it was like by the 4th one, I was growing tired, and I had started considering doing a change like that. And I was like, no, because we're supposed to kind of keep the thing the same. But at this point, it's like life is life in. I obviously want to see what this change would look like. Let me just get it out of my system. And I got it out of my system. And it just kind of helped me think about all of that. So then on March 22nd, there were some things that I wanted to talk about on here in my journal. Answering the question of like softness. And so I said, I'm not soft because I don't allow myself the time to be. I move too fast to get things done, and in times when I have let others lead, they have failed to do so. So I move fast for smaller things and fail with larger. And people just fail with larger. And then not everyone deserves grace, but that doesn't mean that you still can't lead with grace. And so I just think about that example of, did this person deserve my grace? No. He's shown himself to me multiple times, and that's really my fault. That was my lesson to learn, of like, when a person shows you who they are, let it be and move the fuck on. It is what it is. And don't take things personally, because it's really not you. Like, I have confidence in myself in knowing what I did or how I treat people. But that doesn't mean I can't be graceful about a situation that I'm in. And so that's how I really felt like I was trying to be. Like, I acknowledged it was an accident. It's cool. Get it together. And I was thinking about all the shifts that was going on with my car problems, with the work hours, with my school schedule, like this upshift with work. Like, I'm considering working overnight, but if I do work overnight, like, that's when am I gonna sleep? Like, I'm back to the booty den, or whatever episode that was, when I had like papers or 24-hour calendars. Like, that's where I am again, but I'm trying to make it make sense. Like, what really makes sense, right? And I even think about, like, I know that the things that I want, they're already mine, they're coming. The things that the universe does is making way for that, you know. Like, I said, I want to get out of here. Yeah, we're gonna send a nigga to throw up on all your shit so you can get rid of your shit, since you won't do it. The fuck? Thank you so much, boo. And you know, like, just, we're gonna almost kill you so you can see the light and understand the the importance of presence. I don't know. But yeah. And then I think about something else that came across my timeline was a message that said, happiness is a choice, so I choose to be happy. And in regards to all of these things, I'm thinking, like, of being grateful, being capable. At this time, I was preparing. This was the morning. This insert was the morning of my performance. Like, I'm having my 4th pole performance today. Technically my 6th. I had no routine. I'm grateful that my body can even move. In that past week alone, I had walked at least 4 miles, because I walked like 3.2 to the birthday party, and then I had taken the train to school. But one of my classmates, because I have 2 different classmates, one picks me up on Tuesdays, one picks me up on Wednesdays. So she had a doctor's appointment and nobody else was able to get me, and it was like, we found out last minute, so I wasn't going to be able to not that I wasn't going to be able to take the bus, but like, also, since I'm not in Baltimore as much, like, taking a bus, having to learn bus schedules are a lot harder than train schedules. So it's like, I don't even want to risk it. It's like, I'll look into it for the future. So I was like, when I'm looking at Uber prices, y'all talking about 20-30 minutes to go 15 minutes down the street, or $20-$30 to go 15 minutes down the street. I really don't have it. So I'm gonna try my best to walk. And it ended up being 3 miles between the train station and where I needed to go. So I was like, I did it a couple of days ago. I could do it again. And then I made it a mile. I was like, bitch, if you don't sit down and call a fucking Uber, what is wrong with you? And both times I was doing this. My bad, y'all. Oh, shout out to my cousin. If you're listening to this, which I know you are, biggest supporter, she bought me these pants. They got like a little, they flare open and stuff. She got them for me to pole with, because I think they're really cool. Like, I saw dances with them. But they're a little bit hard to actually pole with, so I wear them when I can. But yeah, shout out to you, cuzzo. So, yeah, I had like made it a mile, and I sat down, and I wasn't, so it was going to be my intention to walk the whole way, but I had to be to class by a certain time, and if I had actually walked, I would have been like 20-30 minutes late, and I just didn't want to deal with that, because my professor had already gotten on me this was after we returned from spring break, so then the week before that was spring break, and then the week before that was when I did go to class. I don't know, but my professor got on me about like not letting her know until after class had already started, and I just didn't really want to walk the full 3 miles. So I called the Uber. Neither here nor there. So yeah, I was just like, being grateful that I'm able to even move my body, that I'm able to dance, even with my sciatica, which is like all the tension and everything, that I've had so many injuries that I'm still able to use my body, that I'm able to perform, that I was able to walk, that I was even able to clean up after myself. Like, I didn't have to hire out, right? And even with that, and then thinking about working from home, I have better time management. Now I'm like, I leave work at work. Y'all said I could only clock in. Oh, I'm not answering emails. I'm not doing, no, because y'all aren't getting free time out of me. So now, because I can only come in the office whatever days per week, you're literally only going to see me 2 to 3 times through the week. Oh, you send me something on Friday, baby, I'm not in on Fridays. Like, you got Tuesday to Thursday to say something to me, and if you don't say it, then this is gonna have to wait till the next time I'm in the office. So giving me that better time management there, and being able to just like, I have more time to create, and get a better hone on this in Findom, because again, that is the goal, to be able to work for myself. So to really put a little bit more energy into this, with the throw up, more space to create. Like, I had, and it's so funny because this nigga is so sick that he probably like, see, I did do something for you, you still want me to pay you? Yes, bitch, because it's the fucking principle. Anyway, so I have more space. Like, there's a lot more space, y'all. I'm getting new coffee tables coming tomorrow. There's more space to move in here and to be able to create and like do all of the different kinds of creation that I do. And the idea of letting go of old things, letting go of relationships, letting go of expectations, letting go of being comfortable, and practice. What is practice? The actual application or use of an idea, belief, or method, as opposed to theories relating to it. And so when I wrote this, I'm thinking like, are you applying yourself? If you are, then you're practicing. It's not meant to or possible to be perfect. Imperfect is subjective anyway. What I deem perfect is not going to be the same as someone else. Something perfect for me could be considered like bottom of the barrel mediocre for another person. And it's just like, you may not be with Findom. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I could be, but I'm still applying myself. I'm still invested when I can. Like, I'm still taking the little steps. Like, yeah, maybe I didn't advertise today that I had like a free day to take sessions, but I did take the time to like go on Twitter and retweet my own tweets, work smarter, not harder. Like, I could still do something. I could still like maybe go on Night Flirt and turn on my calls, because I am actually free while I get other things done, and I can kind of promote that. But if nobody takes it, I'm still applying myself. I'm still practicing yoga. Like, just the act of getting on the mat. The hardest thing for a lot of things is showing up. Even like when I do the podcast and stuff, like I be sitting here like, oh no, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, or I'll make notes, or how am I going to make sense of this? And then I sit down, I get in front of the camera, and then I'm like, fuck, I've been talking for 2 hours. Now I got to send, whatever. I'm going to wrap this up soon because y'all, it's 1:30. Well, at the time of this recording, it's 1:32. But once I add the ads, it's really like 1:36, 37, 38. I don't know. Art, not math. The customary, habitual, or expected procedure, a way of doing something. Make room for more positive habits. Like, you want to add positive habits to your practice, and one step at a time. What is something that you could do? So like for me, trying to create this schedule, it's like, okay, well, generally Monday nights, I'm already trying to get in this wind down. What can I do with my Monday nights that make a little bit sense? Like, okay, I can go live on OnlyFans while I'm painting, and that's like a little bit more passive aggressive. I can announce it. If people show up, great. If people don't show up, cool. I'm still showing up for myself. I'm still getting some kind of content out of it that I can post later that somebody else will see, or it's still engaging followers. People pop in, people pop out. I have my loyal fans set so that when in order to even watch my live, you have to follow me. So that means you have to have an account. You have to do that. So at least I'm getting like some visibility there. What are the little things that you can do towards your goal? And so everything, like when you really think about it, everything's a practice. Like, life is a fucking practice. Are you applying yourself to your life, or are you just sitting in the fucking room just like, oh, things are never gonna get better, right? But then this brings me back to being happy. And the idea of depression too. Like, I've been there, and I'm happy and lucky to say that like I feel like I've moved through my depression. I deal a lot more with my anxiety now than I do my depression. But that's not to say that years down the road, something might happen and I might, have another depressive episode. And like, it's not minimizing or excusing, but this, happiness is a choice. So I choose to be happy. I don't know if y'all hear that, but it be ghetto as shit over here. I think about when I was first, I may or may not have told this before, when I was first diagnosed with depression, my sophomore year, and this is when I was in a relationship with somebody else, which is funny too, because speaking of unholy trinities, like one of my other exes had happened to text me the like either the day before my performance or something, talking about some, oh, this is me, new number. I blocked it immediately because we don't got nothing to say. Like, it's, if you ever come across this, I don't got no hard feelings, but honestly the time is up. You know, we had our time. I learned what I needed from you. I hope that maybe I gave you some kind of lesson or something. You know, I'm always, it's no bad blood. We were young when we were dating. You didn't know better. I didn't know better. I wanted better for you. I know that you wanted better for yourself. And it's just like our time's passed. So it's nothing for us to talk about, you know. I feel like sometimes when we do talk, it's reminiscing on the past. 17, 18. It's been 10 years. I'm pushing 30. We're not the same people. What matters is that you learned from whatever it was that you did, you know. And so for me, I'm just like, yeah, no, block. I don't see what could come of this. And then, funny enough, at my performance, there was a person who attended that had a little bit to do with our relationship, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I'm not gonna go too deep into that though. It was just awkward. But happiness is a choice, so I choose to be happy. My sophomore year of college, diagnosed with depression, and there's only been 2 times in my life where grades were just like really rough for me. That was my junior year of high school, and then sophomore year of college that I just really had a hard time. I didn't make the grades that I wanted. Like I've always had over a 3.0 except for these 2 times. In high school, I made a 2.8, and then in college it was a 2.5. So that was just like really hard for me because I was always minimum 3.2. And thinking about all the things that I had said, and so a family member at fucking Christmas dinner or Christmas breakfast or whatever is asking me how my semester went, and I'm just like, it was rough, and you know, giving my little sob story, and he's like, if you want to be happy, be happy. What? And so I think about that now, and there is like, it's so much truth to that, but at the same time, that was insensitive, and given the person and their circumstances with certain things, like it was a little hypocritical. But now that I'm older and I see it, it's like, no, happiness is a choice. You have to choose to be happy every day, and that's like choosing to find the joy in something. Like you're dealing with depression, but you woke up today, and maybe it's not the best life, but you hopefully you could remember like a time that that things were good. So you know that with every storm, with every rain, the sun has to come back out. So it's like you can remember a good time, or, you know, maybe you mustered enough strength to get up out the bed and brush your teeth or grab water or to use the bathroom. Like really celebrating those little wins, because they are wins compared to whatever else you're going through, or, you know, have been through, or being happy. I've been making more of a practice to, when the sun is out, if I'm like out with one of my friends or something, I'll just like, we'll be talking or we'll be sitting doing whatever, and I'll just randomly stand up and just bask in the sun. Or like some days when I wake up in the morning, the way the sun hits, there's like a spot, like it's actually right in front of my pole. I'll come outside, or I'll come out of my room, and I'll just stand in the spot, just like soaking in the sun. Or sit on my balcony and soak the sun in that way. Or I remember it was like one time we were in class and the sun was really bright, and I was like positioning myself in my chair to lean on the table and just you know, so finding the little things. And we really are, it's like thinking about the things, or surrounding yourself with things that bring you some kind of joy and happiness, and not ruminating on all of the bad things, because you attract, you are a magnet. So if you're constantly thinking about the negative, and of course it's practice, it takes practice, because even me spitting all this out, like, it be taking me a minute. I be mad and I be ready to just fucking pile drive through shit, because what the fuck. But then I'm like, no, you know, calm down, feel your feelings, always allow yourself to feel your feelings. But also think about appropriateness, you know, like maybe you're really mad, but maybe it's not really appropriate to start throwing chairs and desk cuz Sally took your pencil. Um or whatever else y'all be getting mad about. Like maybe, you know, excuse yourself to the bathroom and have a little and then come back. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I like to get in the car and just yell. Like that's my happy place to yell. Um so yeah. Um the more you just try to like conjure happy thoughts or just think about what could be grateful. Maybe you got a text from a friend today that you haven't heard for a while, or scrolling on Instagram there was something that made you laugh, or you got a piece of your favorite candy today. Like looking for the small things that bring you happiness. So yeah, I got a notification on my phone going to die, and that's it. That's all. Join Patreon so I can tell you about that crazy ass story. All right, y'all. Be safe. Make good choices.